So for those of you who don't know, it is a kind of callback to George Orwell's 1984. 1984, yeah.
Oh, I did not get that connection.
You don't even know what that is, do you?
No, it's 1984.
Yeah.
Okay, just confirming. I read the book, leave me alone.
No, you did.
Yes, I did.
Oh.
Welcome to Status Quo. I'm your host, Chance, and today I am joined by Sundered Gaming's lead pain in my butt, Johnny Boy. And I'm also joined by Sundered Gaming's lead artist, Shed. We had originally planned to discuss conspiracy theories today, but unfortunately, we are missing our lead tinfoil hat wearer, Bear.
Conspiracy.
Wow.
Yeah, where he's at today is a conspiracy. So instead, we will be discussing player versus player games, game modes, gameplay, different types of PvP, and you would be surprised. Some people are against it, some people are for it.
Why is that a surprise?
I feel like it's a surprise.
That is not a
I
surprise.
feel like a lot of people like PvP, and you.
Well, not everyone likes PvP because they can't handle it.
I understand that, but he's a very
No,
aggressive.
Not handling PvP. That has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Right. No, but I'm just saying, as far as
You're just saying.
to his comment.
Can't deal with it.
No,
it's
no.
too much.
I'm
Are you
not
kidding
saying
me?
that-
I've been in combat. You think I
That
can't
is
handle a
the
video
truest
game
form of
PvP?
You can't handle the heat.
Jesus.
The ultimate form of PvP right there. No, I'm not saying that you couldn't handle it. I was just going off
You
of his
literally just said that.
No.
Some people
Oh
can't
my
handle it.
gosh.
I'm kind of with him on this one. You kind of insinuated that he's just.
I was not
he's not.
insinuating him. I was insinuating your comment that you're saying that you found it surprising that people are against PvP. It's like, no, there's a lot of people that can't handle it. I'm not talking about him because he's arguing for a different
He
subject.
literally, some people can't handle it.
Gosh.
You'll watch the podcast and you'll see your hand movement towards him when you said that.
I'm talking to you. If I'm talking to you, my hand would be pointed that way. But I was talking to you, so I happened to go that way.
I
I
disagree.
wasn't pointed.
I disagree with that.
Oh my gosh.
Wholeheartedly disagree.
Go ahead.
Speaking of
Anywho,
conspiracy theories, I think you guys are going against me.
Go ahead.
this whole office is against you, John.
Oh my gosh.
Makes life easier that way. We are one united enemy,
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
such as the life of a coder, I guess.
Right?
So player versus player games.
Right.
You're on the side of yay.
I am.
I'm also on the side of yay, and if you hadn't guessed yet, he's on the side of nay.
So it's 2v1, so we won. Woo! Alright, next subject.
Because it's 2-on-1 don't mean you win.
I don't
At
know.
all.
Well, in PvP it does. No, I'm just kidding.
Not
I'm just
always.
kidding.
Yeah, not always. I don't know. I've gotten wally mopped by people freaking in
This
in
is
Guild
true.
Wars like 3v1 and they just like slaughter all of us.
So, alright. So as far as when it comes to PvP, now there's multiple forms of PvP out there, whether it's fast, slow, turn-based. Like to me, I like it because of the unpredictability of it, right? But then also going in with like kind of like a basic strategy of like, oh, if I'm like playing WoW, right, and I'm running against a warrior, it's like, okay, knowing what the warrior can do to me, right, knowing what I can do to counter it, and know what I can, try to do to upset it, right? That to me, I thrive on doing that. So like whenever I lose, like I think about, okay, what did I do wrong? I understand not everyone is able to have that type of clarity. when they're
Right. So you work
PvPing.
on getting a skill set. So you train yourself to do better at doing what you're trying to do. And I get that. I'm not against PvP as it is competition. I'm
Right.
against PvP as in the way it makes people feel or their reactions to or the animosities that come out of it. And I've seen real world fights from people playing PvP and getting their asses whooped and just coming out of it and or breaking stuff or rage quitting or so for me as a parent who's saw the children and their friends do that, I don't PvP is
I have no clue what you're talking about. I've never raged.
I don't see the benefit of PvP. Sports competition, absolutely, 100%, but not
So-
when it's anonymous and somebody else is on the other side of the screen. You can't.
So-
know who
so-
that is,
so what
and
is-
shit talking the whole way through, or they're talking that to you and they just whoop your ass, and then you're all your endorphins are all jacked up, and you get out of there. It's just, it's
I don't know
not
if
a
it'll be
healthy.
endorphins, but
So that leads towards way different things.
correct.
'Cause, like,
That's not this.
you have player versus player, and then you have toxic communities and toxic players that are
Yeah,
doing that. They're the ones that are teabagging. They're the ones that are talking smack in all chat. They're like,
Fortnite, all that.
Yeah, but this doesn't happen every game.
No, but that's from. I'm just saying, for me as a parent,
No,
somebody
I
who doesn't
understand.
doesn't condone those kind of behaviors. I'm PvP. I don't need to go against somebody to have a good time and play a video game.
I need to whoop the crap out of somebody to have a
Some
good
people
time.
do. I just don't. I don't.
Although recently with Guild Wars, it's been the other way around.
Yeah. Well, no. So like, all right. So as far as, so you don't like it because the way that makes people rage quit, right?
I don't like the
feeling
way-
that they get.
Right.
So what determines a rage quit? In your
The way it's not just rage quitting; it's just the way that makes those people be when they're done. So
Well-
they're either upset, they don't have to rage quit, but they're mad, they're angry, they're upset, they're depressed, they're whatever. I'm a loser. I can't do
I
this.
get
can't
that
do
when I'm
I
playing
can't do
baseball too. When I lose in sports,
that's totally different. Dude.
how's that totally different?
Totally different because you can see what you did wrong. You're
So
there.
you can in the video
and
game.
you know you're gonna come. Totally different. Video games are totally different.
I understand.
It's kind of
video
funny
games.
how I'm a video game guy and I love video games, but the benefits of those kind of things for video games, I don't. It's not.
Like I've seen people like rage,
I've seen
like on bad pitches, right? People storm mounds for getting hit. I'm just saying,
Well,
that's rage.
That's
That's rage.
Okay, but you hit me with a baseball. That's a
And?
reaction.
That's
This
still
isn't like a
rage.
push the button
It's part of the
and-
game.
Right.
Yeah.
It's still rage. He gets a free base. Why is he complaining?
Because it hurt.
And you still get a free base.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I don't know. I'm like, I don't agree with John very often, but like, kind of
Well,
on his
it's-
side on that one.
Right. I mean, and like you get fouled in basketball. People rage at that.
Because I'm there. I'm in front of you. I'm standing there with
But
you.
they still rage. They still get pissed.
Sure.
They still like shove you or
There's
like
an immediate
push.
consequence
push
if
the
you
ball.
do something.
I understand
hit
it,
me
but
with a baseball.
it's the
I'm
same
gonna
thing.
come at you with my bat.
It's the
I
same
swing
thing
you with
in-
the bat. I get ejected from the game.
Right, but the same
It's
thing in
not the same
PvP.
thing. The kid just got up, has nothing else to do other than smash that $1,000 computer.
No, he doesn't have to
and
smash
break
the
it.
$1,000 computer.
But he does. Or he punches a wall.
What-
or he
what
tells
I'm-
the parents to F off, or whatever the hell it is. And
Well-
that's not healthy.
No, what I'm
healthy
saying, like
actions.
as far as like that immediate
There are
reaction.
people there when you're playing baseball and games and sports that says, hey, knock it off. That's not right.
Understand? Well, you can do that at home too. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
How many parents are in the room when their kids are playing video games?
Whose fault is that?
Okay, sure. How many times do you want me in your room while you're playing video games?
I don't
Ever,
Well,
right?
okay, so even when I was a kid, I wouldn't come out of my room, storm out,
Not
and be
you
slamming.
specifically.
I,
but how many
I
of your
understand
friends?
that. Okay, whose responsibility is it to take? Because how many kids playing basketball growing up? How many prima donna little dirt bags got pissy because they got fouled and then acted like little shits the rest of the game? That's still the same mentality. It's still
Right.
the same thing. And if their parents don't correct the behavior, which didn't happen because you know who I'm talking about. If it's not corrected, who's that on? That's the parents. So it doesn't matter if you're playing video games, if you're playing sports, or if you're learning a new skill, or whatever that looks like. If your instant reaction to loss or struggle is to get upset, get angry, get pissed off, get depressed, like that's a character issue that needs to be corrected. It's not a situation that needs to be taken away from. Because I got my butt whooped plenty in League of Legends, all right? I'm bronze for life. I don't give a shit, okay? I have no problem understanding that I'm bronze level, tier F support, okay? That's my role. I understand. But, like, you have to come to that conclusion eventually, and if you're letting your kid rage and become a little shit, essentially, when they're losing in video
No, I get
games, if you translated that child into a sport, they would have the same reaction to the same stuff.
But the consequences would be different because there's parents there. And I'm with you. If the parents aren't around for watching their kids do all that bullshit,
Yeah,
then
but-
you're not gonna get the opportunity to fix that issue, and that kid's gonna continue to grow up doing those things, develop those bad behaviors, and there's gonna be a point where it's gonna snap or something's gonna wrong. It's gonna hit the wrong person, do the wrong thing, in sports, when there's adults around, there's consequences because they're there to observe it. When these kids are all playing these video games They're in their rooms, they're over at a friend's house, they're by themselves, and they're doing their thing. I don't agree with it. So that's
Got a
just
great
me.
solution. Don't give your kids a freaking laptop. Put a desktop in the living room and call it a day.
Right.
Correct.
I had a desktop in the living room until I was like 12.
Correct. And how many times did I push the button when I told you to freaking go do something and you didn't do it?
Yeah, playing.
Consequence. Go do what your mom told you to do.
Right, but that's
So-
parenting.
Correct. I'm not
Bam,
saying
bam,
that.
thank you, man.
Right.
We come full
So
circle.
you corrected
A behavior
Right.
with because I'm that parent. But
Correct.
not all parents are that way.
Right, but
if you're
how-
doing
but I'm
sports,
just saying, like-
90% of the time when you're doing sports, parents are present.
right.
Parents-
But their parents.
Because that environment, your parent gives enough of a damn to have you
No,
play
no.
sports. They pay attention to what you're doing. They're paying the money for it. They're going to go watch you do it. Did your parents show up?
My parents, because I have loving parents, did.
Correct.
Not every kid has
A
loving
lot of
parents that would
parents
show up to
don't.
their games.
Correct.
And
But
sometimes
more so than
those
it
guys
would be
have.
with a video game, sitting in a corner. How many computers did Dylan bring?
3 that I know of.
Yeah, but he wasn't your kid,
Nope.
right? What would have happened if he was your kid?
I'd have smacked the shit out of it.
Yeah, and that
What?
would have corrected that behavior.
I wouldn't have bought him
real
another
quick.
Yeah, I
Computer.
wouldn't have bought him a new one.
Right, and that would
We do
correct-
not condone child abuse.
But I'm just saying, it would have corrected his behavior.
He was 14, so he was not a kid.
I was probably
I-
like 16, 17.
16. He was older.
Yeah.
He was
We were older at that point.
I mean, and so did Dylan play sports?
Yeah.
How did you react when he got fouled?
not like that.
Ooh, two different stories now.
I didn't go on their away games a lot.
You want to
So
start with that one?
I didn't go with your away games.
Wow, but your guys' away games were like,
Oh yeah, our away
Two,
games are yeah.
Correct. You-
A boat ride, a plane ride, and then like a 4-hour bus ride.
Yeah.
It was always amazing, always fun.
Yeah.
Wasn't that bad until it was like negative 35 degrees outside, and we're on a bus that's
Has
got
no heat.
sheet metal walls like 1/4 inch thick that has no heat on it, and we're all in our we're in our negative 25 like
Was that
sleeping
Nanana?
bags.
Was it Toke or what? was
Nanook.
it?
I don't remember. It was the tournament way north where we boiled
Toke.
water.
Toke.
Was it Toke?
Yeah, it was Toke.
in case you don't recognize, those are Alaskan cities or,
Sit-
town,
sit
or,
down.
or towns.
Village. It's a village.
Village.
No, because that was a trip that we boiled hot water and like threw it outside and did the whole like
Mixed thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole way.
Dude, that trip sucked.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, it was great winning that tournament and just like a nice to the Russians, but it was a rough trip.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yep.
So I think that kind of just proved the point that it's more about the person
Not the
playing
person.
the game and the sport than it is. Well, okay, it comes down to the parents.
Parents. And I've said it a billion times. Video games are good if they're done in what is the word I'm looking for? Not mitigation. in
Moderation?
Moderation and with supervision.
I don't even know.
I'm not against PvP. I've seen what it does to children or kids, even
Right.
adults.
Right, and that's why you choose not to
Right.
partake.
When you do it right, because if I don't support it, I'm not going to be part of it.
Are you sure it's not John's theory that you just can't handle it?
Yeah.
I didn't say that. Jeez.
Pretty sure you did. You pointed right at me. Oh yeah.
Pointed right at him.
Well, put that in the comments, see if that happens.
Comment
Yeah,
below.
do you think John told Chad that he can't handle PvP? But
I get the challenge of it. I get you pitting your skills against somebody else's skills 100%. It just has to be done in moderation or appropriately or whatever. Should just because it can be detrimental to people's mental health.
And to be honest, it should be.
We are grown men, and we have our psyches are probably a little bit more developed and solid because we had decent parents, right? But there are kids out there that don't. That just it jacks them up, and you've run into them all right now. That's why they're wearing what they wear and doing.
Oh, okay, you're not getting political here.
You know what's funny is that like I played sports before I got into video games, and I think
You understood competition,
right,
the true sport of competition.
right.
Yeah, but if I'm being honest, like John doesn't really rage at other people. He rages at his teammates.
I get that though.
But
See, that would be something that I
but
would do.
I'm
Hey,
doing-
jackass, pull your
Right.
head out of your
That's
ass.
what I'm doing in baseball. It's like, how
Let's
can you
go.
drop that? How can you not pick that up?
Tell me you
So
guys
it's
didn't do
easy.
that in basketball. All the time you guys were cussing each other out.
Oh
All
yeah.
the time. So I get
But
that.
the
part.
thing is that like I don't rage at them for something that they cannot perform at. I rage at them because I know they can perform it because they did it earlier.
Correct.
They're just, what the hell happened?
I was playing one-handed, drinking a beer in the middle of the match. My bad.
And then, not
Heal.
using half of his,
Oh.
right,
Hit
not
him with
using
my
half
beer
of his kid, or his whole class is, based around.
That was funny. The day you guys realized that I wasn't using totems on my shaman was just glorious. You're just like, oh, I was looking at your build. You should try and use this and this, and I'm just like, what are those, John? And you're like, totems? And I'm like, yeah, what are those?
Oh,
Oh, 100%. Like, I knew they were there, but I'm like,
how livid I was. I was like, oh my gosh, I am.
Are you talking about World of Warcraft or?
Yeah.
yeah, World of Warcraft.
The shaman, that's like his bread and butter.
Well,
Right.
it used to be his bread and butter.
No,
Then
it
it
still
got,
is.
No. And then it got taken away at one point where it was like super limited and like totems really didn't do all that much. And then they brought them back. Well, I picked the game back up when they were very limited and they didn't have that big of an effect. And then like 2 expansions later, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, totems are like pivotal to gameplay again.
They were always.
Totems were.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't.
When Tareen, yeah, because you'd be
No
like,
one
like
played
6
his class
totems
when
and
you
you're
picked
like,
it up.
It was so much easier when you could just hit one button and it summons all 4 of your totems
Correct.
and you call it a day.
Right.
Now I have to like,
That's when it was limited
yeah.
because you just dropped the totems, but they
Yeah, so
changed
all I
it
had to
a
remember was to
long
click
time.
one button. One button, go into combat.
Right.
That's all I needed.
And we only got one totem.
No, 4. You drop 4.
No, I'm just saying that's why we only got one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll click one button, go into combat. You're lucky if you got the right totem. Yeah, that day was hilarious. He was pissed. He was
I don't know if that's
livid.
where's your totems?
What totems? It's like,
Well,
well,
finally put your armor on.
he's like,
What's armor?
you should have Riptide and then Earth or Stone Skin Totem, and I'm like, I don't know
Healing
what those
stream
are.
totem, all this other stuff.
Yeah.
The stuff I see that other shamans use that they can't kill.
Keep dropping totems.
That was a good day. That was a good day.
It was.
I'm pretty sure you rage quit that day on me too, because you were like,
He doesn't rage quit. He just
John
Quiet.
gets
because
quiet.
I don't
Yeah.
want to say something that I'm going to regret. Apparently, like saying, you can't
Yeah.
handle PvP. So I like.
he did. What did it be?
He did, 100%.
No, because I try, like I said, I try to keep it in check because, again, I don't want to do something because it's at the end of the day, getting mad at something stupid over a video game or like losing in sports. It's just it's so minute and irrelevant to the grand scheme of things. It's just better just to not do it. No, I mean
I
not,
agree. I agree. Thank
Better
you.
than just
Better
not-
to not do it.
Better to just not get angry.
Did he just agree with me?
No, I didn't. I was talking about anger. Just getting angry.
Same. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, but that comes with maturity because even like with myself, like I know growing up playing video games, like yeah, I got pissed off at League of Legends, but I bought all my stuff, so I would never have destroyed my $2,000 laptop that I worked all summer to get.
That's true.
I would have never destroyed my
All my computers
my
have
$90
that
headset that like I watched my buddies destroy their shit all the time, and then he would come back the next day with a brand new computer that his
Yeah.
mom bought him, and it was just like, what?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're crazy, dude.
And I never understood like throwing on the controller,
Yeah.
like when you're playing with somebody. Yeah, I understand like punching your
If the controller's jacked up
right.
and it's like and you know
Okay,
it's jacked
that-
up and you're still
there's something
trying to use
different
it and finally
between,
you're just like fuck it, throw it away. Pardon
Right.
my language. Yeah, I get those, but
Right. So, but that's malfunction. That can happen in PvE.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. When you're on the last boss and just like, why the
right.
God?
Done. It's like my dice.
Yeah.
When it
Yeah.
rolls a 1 for the 5th time, see ya.
But
But like typically, like even if it was broken, it's like I don't want to throw it to, unless I actually knew it was actually busted.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, so like Logan's would leave it there, and he would buy the parts, and he would replace all the parts, which would cost him just as much as it would to buy the damn new controller. So I'm like, no, just throw it away and get a new controller. Nah, I like the controller. It's like,
the way it sits in your hand, the way it's worn. No, but I said that to say, like, nowadays, I could lose everything in a game. I could be playing EVE Online and put all of my stuff in a freighter and undock and lose everything in one shot, and I would be like, okay, time to restart. Like, there's definitely been times in my life where I've just like gotten to the point with video games where it's like, this is so unimportant in my life. Don't get me wrong, like very enjoyable to play. Like I
Right.
love spending my free time playing video games. I love the community of video games. Hence why we're a game development company. But like it's so inconsequential to the day to day
Right.
that I can't commit any of my energy to being
get mad.
being upset
It's
about something.
It's a wasted anger and hate for when you're playing a video game is a wasted energy.
Well, anger and hate for anything is wasted.
Yeah, I would 100% agree to that.
I'm with you.
But I don't think like the anger and hate stops in PvP. Like I've gotten plenty pissed at a game in like solo play stuff.
Right.
Like there's one mission in Gears of War 3 where it's like you're in this endless firefight. Or so you think, because they just didn't tell you that you needed to move to this one location to progress to the next. So you're sitting there like 30-minute scene, like just killing people, you're like out of ammo, you're like stealing guns off enemies, and you're like, what the is this? Like I just want to like move on. And then like you just happen to run over there because you killed an enemy in that spot, and then like next cutscene, and you're just like, are you kidding me? And then they're like pissed.
Right.
Like the 30-minute firefight didn't do anything for the story, didn't do anything for my
Right.
fun. It was just me shooting at freaking the horde. It's like
Or when the AI cheats and you're just like, what?
yeah. So I mean, it doesn't just stop at PvP.
That's a good AI cheats. That's a good topic.
AI cheats.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All the
freaking
time.
Age of Empires.
Yeah.
Well, they have to because they have to make it competitive for you.
Because it's not PvP.
Right.
Well, didn't you suggest that one day, going and doing some ranked, not ranked, but
Ladders.
Yeah, ladders on Age of Empires.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, Bear said he's
Oh
not
my
allowed
God.
to play with us though, because we'll be carrying somebody.
Ashley would be good. She's not too bad.
Ashley's only good with the war elephants.
Both of them guys are the freaking ballista elephants. Oh my god.
Yeah, if they don't have ballista elephants, don't play with them.
Jeez, it'll suck your resources dry.
I hope they don't watch this episode.
You're
You're like,
Love
I
them.
need gold. I have to play Spain whenever I play
And then I play
with them.
The Goth? No.
For the market boost.
Yeah. So he does a market boost with doubles the money, and I do a 20% boost on speed
Yeah,
for my marketplace, which is just for everybody because it's a
Right. It's a civilization.
yeah.
yeah. So like literally my entire like I don't focus on any other resources except for gold because I know that they're gonna have enough resources to send me, and I'm just gonna have like 1,000,000 gold.
He spammed out 500 carts, and that was max for population civilization max. 500, and it damn near crashed the game.
It was great. Literally, I had no peasants. I had nothing. I just had 500 carts.
So you didn't participate in the war?
No, the girls were fighting.
Yeah,
You were just.
I was the
support?
banker.
He had like 1.2 million, and he just kept forking over money.
I was Vanguard. All right, BlackRock. I was just shoving the money in.
Yep.
Like wage my wars for me, peasants. Yeah, it was a good day. Until the game started going like.
500 carts.
I was like, oh my lord.
Yeah.
They were getting pissed at me. They're like, delete your freaking carts. But the war machine must continue.
must be the machine.
Oh, good times. Good times.
I mean, I don't know. I believe there's a lot of PvP out there that doesn't instill rage against people, even when they lose.
There is when it's done right. I mean, in competition, you do a lot of stuff, but for me, I guess it would be just for a more mature. Not that you should put a maturity rating on PvP, but just for people who are more sound of mind, I guess, or brain or something. It's crazy.
I don't know. I feel like parents should just be parents.
Yeah, I mean, if you
I-
don't
I-
teach your kids on how to like take competition healthy, then they should participate in any competition.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like kids playing games, especially like phone games, where like microtransactions and like gambling and like all that stuff is being forced onto them. So you're creating that like mentality of like this is what life is.
Right.
It's about spending money. It's about gambling. It's about loot boxes. It's like
Right.
so. I feel you should definitely limit children exposure to video games to a point.
Mhm.
I mean, there's no reason your kid should be playing freaking Clash Royale on the phone at 5 years old. Like,
Right.
there's no reason for it.
Right.
They need to understand how life works before they invest any bit of their their knowledge and time and effort into something like that.
So what you're saying is, I really don't just not like PvP. I just hate bad parenting.
I think
that's what it is.
Yeah, I think that's what we got to.
Right. Because, I mean...
Bad parenting also translates into, like, the toxic communities.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I don't think PvP in general is bad. Like, honestly, if you took all person-to-person enemy team interaction away, there wouldn't be a toxic community.
Yeah.
Like, they would figure out ways to do it. I understand that. But, like, if Modern Warfare lobbies didn't have, you know, where you could talk to the enemy after the game, and the last, 30 seconds of the game is everybody telling each other how big of POSs they are.
Right.
Okay, there's no reason for that whatsoever. League of Legends, all chat doesn't need to exist.
Right.
Although
team chat. You got
team chat, well, even team chat is a little rough.
I think
these days.
team chat should be limited to, like, hey, go here,
Yeah.
support me, help me.
Yeah.
Instead of, like...
Although you could be me, and I know you hate this, but I think it's the greatest thing in the world. Kill them with kindness. You hate it because I'm still engaging, but
Yeah.
I'm engaging with so much excessive kindness that it's pissing them off more, and it's like it's just fueling.
I think I hate it because you don't mean it.
Yeah, that's probably it.
It's like, if you're gonna...
No. Okay, so like not the other day. It's probably a while ago.
Yeah.
So a guy was like raging in chat, and I asked him, "Hey man, you need a hug?" It was back when we were playing WoW. Like when we were hardcore playing WoW.
Right.
I think that was the day, Arathi Basin, where you, Bear, and myself like defended farm against like 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
It was like that day. But the guy was raging in chat, and then I responded with, "Do you need a hug?" And then like he just got more angry about it.
Was it because like he was complaining that we were just...
I don't remember what he was complaining about. It was something just like generally calling the team terrible and crap like that. And I asked him if he needed if he had sent a message to me and been like, "I could use a hug," like I would have responded with like genuine like care. Like, don't get me wrong. So when I start like with the excessive kindness, if I receive it back in like a reaching out for something other
more kindness.
Yeah, for more kindness, then you'll receive like genuine kindness. If
Gotcha.
you reach out with like more toxicity, I'm just gonna be obnoxious.
Right.
I'm gonna be so excessively nice that you're just gonna think I'm the biggest piece of shit in the world. But like, had he personal messaged me and been like, "Yeah, I'm going through a rough time," like, yeah, I would have had a good conversation with the guy. And it's happened. People literally messaged me and been like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that." And then I like have good conversations with people online about like life and getting through crap and
Right.
So like I understand your frustration with it, but like some good does come of it.
Because like when I read on the chat, right? Because I don't see you get your personal messages, right? When I read, I read it. And Chance is saying this in this way because Chance is an asshole. He's gonna say it in this tone, and I'm just like, dude, stop it.
Hey,
stop engaging.
Label at Home Depot. The nicest asshole you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
Still an asshole.
Still an asshole.
Still an asshole. But I do definitely think that it just comes down to parenting. Like, communities wouldn't be so toxic if parents just watched their children and corrected behaviors.
Can't disagree.
If there was just a little bit more niceness in the world.
A little more love in the world.
A little more love in the world.
Oh my god.
And, it sucks that, like, it only takes a few bad apples to ruin a community. At least in my opinion.
Well, I feel like it's got a trickle down effect for sure.
Right.
I mean, League of Legends didn't start toxic.
No, it did not.
It just, no game starts toxic. I feel like when the developer doesn't curb the toxicity, it just continues to spiral, and it just makes it into a terrible game. And I feel Riot Games did a very, very mediocre job, or no job at all, in their first, 10 years of having that game. And I feel like they've started to crack down on it a lot more recently, like within the last 2-3 years, to the point of where, like, it's definitely not...
Yeah, but they don't own it anymore.
Well, I mean, Riot Games still technically owns League of Legends, but Riot Games is owned by Tencent, which
Right,
mean,
the original people aren't there anymore.
I understand that.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Gotcha. Yeah, everything leads back to Tencent. Tencent runs the gaming industry. In case y'all
They don't run
didn't
us,
know
though.
that. Yeah, they don't run us, but we haven't released
2
anything.
cents
So
does.
what can they run? Oh,
We're only on 2 cents.
remind me
10 cents.
Facebook when we're done with this conversation. So yeah, I feel like that.
But like,
It's the gaming company's
I
job to mediate that.
yeah, but I mean, like when League of Legends started, they were like an indie developer because they were small, and I mean, League of Legends almost didn't like come off the ground. If you go back to like the original Riot story, but I mean, it is hard to police, especially like when it blows up and you don't necessarily have the staffing for it. But they did try to put out positivity with their community stuff, right? And but I mean, unless you have like a moderator in each match to like shut it down, or now have like AI programming to shut down toxic chat.
I don't even think that's what you need. You do like a EULA update, and basically at the very beginning of it, which like you force them to click on something inside the EULA to actually pop open, and it just be like a broad statement, like toxic people are not allowed in this game, and any
Right.
toxic behavior, and then give a list of toxic behavior, like telling somebody to KYS, permanent ban, like just throw it all out there, and then enforce it. So like you, at the very beginning, they could have done a reporting system. They could have given very descriptive, like, hey, don't do this. And then like had one person, like I understand, big game, a lot of stuff to go through, especially when it was originally getting off the ground. But you could have had that one person.
Right.
And like when people started posting about like, oh, I got banned because I told somebody to go KYS, like, yeah, people will stop that real quick because then you have money invested into a game and you don't want to lose the money by being a POS.
Mhm.
Like, so I think, while yes, I understand they had struggles starting, I don't think it would have been that hard to curb it.
And to be honest, I think what else would have might have, well, I don't know. Well, so do you think people are more toxic on free-to-play games than they are on pay-to-play?
Yeah, I would say so.
Because, I mean, you look at Warcraft, right? It's like, I'm paying my time to be on here. Very rarely did I meet anyone that was truly toxic. I mean, you go into a battleground, yeah, we have a guy that's complaining, but
Right.
right-click, ignore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And that was the extent of it. But for the most part, I mean, most of the people that were on there, or at least when I meet people, like when I would go like looking for raid and stuff like that, and actually join them on like their Discord. It's like I'm thinking like, oh, here I'm about to like join like some like Dude Bros Discord, and they're all gonna be like trash talking and stuff like that. But I was like, no, that normal people like me. It's like, okay, that kind of makes sense because people like me would play this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really don't feel like in WoW, or even most MMOs really, like,
Yeah, you don't
people really aren't all that toxic. And even if they are, they have very little effect on whatever it is you're doing.
Correct.
Like, okay, I'll deal with you for my 10-minute Warzone goals. Like, cool, whatever.
Right, and then
But League of Legends,
yeah.
like, this is my silver, get out of silver to gold, like, final ranked game, and you want to be a feeding POS to spite me because I picked the champion that you wanted to play. Like, there's just so much, and they affect you so much by what you're doing. It's like,
But then that goes back to the development on the developer because they have a shitty rating system.
well, yeah, I mean, I don't like their system anyways, but
Because like when, all right, in PvE, right, I fail, right, I don't go backwards, right. Yeah, I may have to start the level over, but I don't have to go back 3 levels ago to do those just to get to the current set that I'm at. And the rating system that they have, now for most PvP, which is, was a topic I wanted to get to at some point, and I'm glad I'm actually able to get to it.
we could do literally a whole podcast on ranking systems.
Yeah, but like it's just with when it comes to the PvP part, like
The
if
PvP part?
yeah, if I lose to a team or if I lost to someone, right? My rating should not go down because I've earned the rating that I got by beating the people that I beat.
Right. You lost to somebody who was better.
Correct. Or
It's
so,
not.
yeah, even if they have a lower rating than mine and they beat me, well, obviously either they picked up the game later than I did or started later than I did. Surely they were better because they beat me, so they should, be ahead of me in the rating, not take my rating away, and now I have to climb back up and go through what most people call ELO hell, just because, again, you get stuck with someone that decides to feed. It's like, okay, well, that's not my fault. He's feeding the team.
Mm-hmm.
As long as my goal per hour was on point, my kill death ratio is on point. Why am I being punished because one person on my team lost us the game? In sports, right? You don't take away stats because your team lost. The RBIs don't go away because
Yeah.
Right.
Like your RBIs only count if you won the game.
right.
Like that's
Your RBI is still the same no matter what.
Correct. So why is it that I get penalized for my performance because our whole team lost, or my ranking goes down because arbitrary reasons, right?
Well, so you start going down that road, and honestly, this might literally be a discussion for another podcast. But then you start looking at like individual players inside of a ranking system and how they progress, and like that's a lot to input in to figure out how to like actually give people points for gameplay. Because you look at like Mech Warrior, right? We get annoyed because we're playing objectives, but objectives don't get you any more score for the game.
Which it should.
Correct. I'm playing an objectives based, a capture or a King of the Hill game,
Right.
and I'm capturing the King of the Hill point, but I get a lot more credits and a lot more points and a lot more experience if I go kill people.
Because like the way that it is, like, and I think this is what they could do with the other games, is that like, all right, you take a component away from a mech, right? That's so much point towards your score, right?
Mm-hmm.
You actually, disable weapons or blow weapons up because it shows up like when it's happening. That's more points. You actually get the final kill. Oh, that's more points. You did more damage to that mech than someone else, but they get the kill. You still get a lot of those points.
Yeah.
And they just don't weight the points that you get from capturing because it shows up on there. It's like, oh, defense, whatever, and then it pops up. Defense XP, and then it pops up. But it's still like minimal and so trash. It's like, okay, why am I here?
Yeah.
Right. And where it should be, the other way around. And I can see, and I think I know probably why they did it, because people would just be sitting at their bases, right? Just ranking up that, score. But when, again, you have like a King of the Hill situation to where you have multiple points and you have to be moving around, I mean, that's the whole point of that mode, right? So in that mode, that should be weighted more, as opposed to, the standard, oh, you have two bases, and I'm just standing in the home base, just in case someone...
I'm camping.
Right, and I'm ranking up my score. Yeah, I can see how that's rated less, but then again, unless... Yeah. And I can see how it could work coding-wise, and I can see how much of a pain in the ass it could work, but it's still something that could be done, as far as, especially in a team game, to make the individual score just tied to you and not necessarily based on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's also the person that didn't do nothing. Should he be rewarded for everything that happened in that team with the team?
No. I mean, yes, to a point. I mean, if you did the bare minimum and your team still won, like, obviously something. You get something.
I understand, like, if you're on the bench and you still get the ring, right, at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But
we're just it's sports and games today. We're just
Super Bowl
connecting them.
Right. But I'm just saying it's not. It's still part of the team, but it's like, I don't know.
No, I'm with you. You shouldn't be punished because somebody had a bad. You grabbed out like a random group and you got stuck with somebody who just learned to play or they didn't do whatever.
Especially if it's random.
Yeah.
Right. It's one thing. It's one thing like in sports where like we chose you to be on our team. You're just a backup in case shit happens, but you still get the ring afterwards.
Yeah.
Right. But like in PvP, a lot of times it's all random. So it's like, okay, I didn't choose to be with this guy. I don't know this dude. I have no intention of training this dude or getting to know this dude. So why am I being penalized for his actions
His style of play,
on in my game? And like even with like solo ranking, like that's just like a 1v1, like in Hearthstone. It's like I earned to be at the ranking that I'm at. Why are you pushing me back because I lost to some like ungodly deck, and then now I got that deck like 3 times in a row, and now I'm like down 2 ranks. I'm like, really?
Well, you know why they do it though. You know what that whole thing of it is. League of Legends sticks that carrot of gold right in front of you as you're trying to progress through silver. And like a lot of people are conspiracies on that of like, oh, they put you against better players on purpose to keep you down, to make you continue to play, to fight more. Like, there's a lot behind it. So it's more of a mentality thing for why they take points away from you than it is just a achievement thing.
But it's a demoralization. Like, okay, I don't care if my rating doesn't improve, right? And pit me against players to keep me in silver, right? If I can't beat them anyways, I don't deserve to be in gold.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's irregardless to me. But don't take away my progress that I've already made. You can keep me there. And to be honest, if I don't lose progress, I'm more inclined to play again after a loss.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If I lose progress because I lost, right? Depending on whatever the situation, time of day, if I'm having a bad day, I'm just going to quit. I'm going to play something else. Right? And now you've lost my time and probably lost my money for whatever that I might have spent on, right? As opposed to like, oh, well, if I didn't lose, I didn't lose anything. There was no harm in losing. All I can do is just get better. Then I'm gonna play again.
I mean, I think that's good to a point, but then, I mean, like, so say World of Warcraft implemented that for solo PvP, which they don't have, so this conversation doesn't really matter. But they implement that kind of system where you never lose any ranking. Eventually, everybody's a gladiator, right? So I feel like at some point there has to be a detriment to like losing in a way.
Like you can have a ranking at the top, right? That goes up and down, right? Then those are for like the hardcore, like I want to be the best, right? But if you're tying gear to a certain point behind ranking, then I should be able to achieve that ranking, regardless if it takes me the first 2 weeks to get or the whole fucking season.
Oh no, I agree. I mean, the amount of times.
So after I get my last piece of gear, then okay, my ranking can go up and down as it pleases. But if you're gatekeeping me to this gear because I can't.
You don't have a 2300 rating, you can't buy this gear. You
Right,
have
because
rating.
I keep going up and down, and I go up against people who have lower ranking, and they're like god tier because they paid like 5 million gold to get and didn't do anything to earn it, right? And comes in and smokes me, and now I go down 200 points or worse, right? And now I have to fight not only 5 more games because a win is only like 10 points.
But the loss was negative 30.
Or 200.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, that's a garbage system.
I agree. I think you should never gatekeep anything for your players. Like, everything should be accessible to them. And then, obviously, there's rankings. It's like, if it was, 1,800 ranking points, and then you have everything accessible to you, but then anything over 1,800 is more of just an EP thing. So it's like, yeah, there's achievements that are based on, hitting certain milestones, but all that's just because people like to dedicate their time and put ungodly amount of hours into a video game. That's one thing. But yeah, kind of like you said, gatekeeping it like, oh, I've been stuck at 1,400 and I can't get gear because I'm fighting 1,600 people who have the next tier of gear. So I'm not going to win.
From PvE.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that definitely makes a lot of sense.
And even to the point that you were trying to make that like everyone will be gladiator. Not everyone will be gladiator because if you can't beat the people at 1,800, you're still not going to improve. You're not going to lose anything. You're just not going to improve.
Well, but that was what I was saying. Like, if you don't have a negative, then
no.
Then
even if you don't have a negative, you're just going to be stuck at that one.
No.
So no. If you're rank 9, right? You rank 9, and you lose every single battle from here to the end of the season. You're never going to make it to rank 1.
I understand that, but if you're rank 9 and you've got 100 people in rank 9, right?
And
then you've got 10 of you who are staying in rank 9 because you're all terrible.
Right.
And then those other 90, go up to rank 1 because you got your rank 8 players, your rank 7 players. They're going to continue to fight each other all the way up the ranking system.
Right.
Until they catch up to those rank 1, and then they're going to be fighting all 90.
Correct.
So you at rank 10, given enough time, will continue to fight everybody else at rank 10, and then you'll fight all of them in rank 9. And then you'll fight all the same people in rank 8, and then all the way up.
Right.
So given enough time, everybody would, at some point, become gladiator.
Not necessarily.
If you never have a negative.
Yeah. Because I don't know.
Comments below.
Yeah. I think that's to the comment board.
The math adds up.
Look, I get what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
but seasons reset.
I understand.
Right.
I said given enough time.
Right. And you limit to the amount of time.
Sure. I mean, you could do it that way too.
Same.
Right.
Hearthstone only has 1 month for every season.
They have what?
1 month per season.
All right. That's actually not that bad. Well, we have our developer spotlight.
Da-da-da-da!
When I'm gonna
Which coincidentally does not have
any PvP. I don't know. In a way.
Well, actually, no.
In a way.
Well, no, it doesn't, because it's a single player game.
I understand that. But if you look into it,
Oh
it's
my
PvP. If you really invest yourself into it. So we're gonna take a look at this.
It'd be funny if they actually just use actual live footage of people.
So that would actually be pretty terrible, honestly. So our developer spotlight this week is Osmotic Studios. They released a game called Orwell back in 2016. So
Holy crap.
Yeah, it's actually an old game. So for those of you who don't know, it is a kind of callback to George Orwell's 1984. 1984, yeah.
Oh, I did not get that connection.
You don't even know what that is, do you?
No, it's 1984.
Yeah.
Okay, just confirming. I read the book, leave me alone.
No, you did.
Yes, I did.
Oh my god, then you know exactly what it was.
I know. I was just getting the name. Anywho, so it's a callback to George Orwell's 1984. Yeah, honestly, just watch the trailer because it's pretty. We're headed there. Without getting political, we're headed there.
Girly.
Thanks to the government's safety bill, the nation is experiencing the lowest levels of violent crime in years. But there are still those who pose a threat to our peaceful citizens, to all of us. Introducing Orwell, a new security program that combines cutting-edge information retrieval with human-directed suspect profiling. For Orwell to be truly successful, however, we need you, someone outside of the nation, capable of discerning information posted by suspects online. You will have to carefully decide what information is crucial for our investigations. Stakes are high, and lives hang in the balance. Sign up now, and together we can ensure a safer nation for all. Orwell, keeping an eye on you.
Someone's watching him.
That is too
creepy.
Watch.
I mean,
You know what would be crazy? And I don't know if they did this in the game, but they show your actions, you decide, oh, I'm gonna quit, and then they show your last 5 minutes of actions. No, 5 minutes of actions of you doing whatever that it is that you did.
Right.
It's like, oh, someone is watching me.
yeah, that'd be extremely odd. But so they've come out with that one, and then they they've come out with a second one as kind of an update to it. Overall, very interesting game, interesting art style, and just a very different type of game
Voyeuristic.
that kind of leads to a little bit of what's going on in society nowadays.
Watch your neighbor.
Yeah.
By the way, that would have been a perfect spotlight for Conspiracy Day.
Right.
That's fair. That's fair.
The Madden curse is real.
Well, I think we all know that one. Alrighty. Well, I think that wraps up this episode of The Status Quo. We hope you enjoyed the dive into the world of gaming from our point of view, and apparently the world of parenting as well. As we close today,
Parenting and gaming.
we just want to say thank you for your support as we try to bring a positive, insightful, and entertaining content to you every week. If you'd like to stay connected with us beyond the podcast, follow us on all the major social media platforms at Sundered_gaming. You can also check us out on our website at sunderedgaming.com for upcoming content, sneak peeks, announcements, and such. Join us next week where we will probably be discussing conspiracy theories. I hope so. Or ranking systems. I don't know, John seemed pretty excited about talking about ranking systems, so.
I got my let it all out there.
Oh, we could talk for hours about that. Don't even start. This has been The Status Quo. Thanks for watching.
Peace.